I want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. The weekend is here, you guys. Happy Friday. In today's episode, what we'll be discussing. There was a tweet that has been surfacing on Twitter, and I think a lot of people are reacting to it because there is literally no context to the conversation that was had on the Hoop Collective podcast on ESPN. So we'll be putting the tweet on the screen, reading it, and then playing the full conversation between Tim McMahon of ESPN and Vinny Goodwill of ESPN, and kind of breaking down just why I believe NBA accounts that aggregate are very bad for the casual basketball fan in general. I'm not just talking about Detroit Pistons fans. I'm talking about just casual fans in general that follow these massive accounts that just aggregate and get maybe a sentence or two out of an article or a podcast. So that'll be our first segment. The second segment, I wanted to kind of go over these Ausar Thompson runs and just kind of break down his highlights because he looks really, really good. I know it's off season, you guys. A lot of people like it's Ben Simmons, Anthony. It's Andre Drummond 2.0, Anthony. I don't think so. I think there is some things that we can take away from these runs with the SAR and kind of break it down for you guys. But let's get into the first topic of this episode today, and it's Jalen Duren. Like I mentioned at the top of the podcast, there was a tweet. This one comes from Full Court Press, and they're talking about Jalen Duren and his restricted free agency. It says the negotiations between the Pistons and Jalen Duren have been, quote, awfully nasty, and there is concern about a long-term future in Detroit per Ban McMahon, Tim McMahon of ESPN, for you guys that don't know who that is. Another quote that says, sometimes these negotiations, when they are ugly like this, can have long-lasting consequences, end quote. Now, I just want to say, you read that, you automatically think the worst. You automatically think that what has been going on in restricted free agency between Jalen Duren, his agent, and the Detroit Pistons and their front office is completely toxic. They can't really meet in the middle. Like, that's automatically what you think when you read that, right? Without any context to the situation. But we are going to bring context on Pistons Talk Podcast today. Now, this is the Hoop Collective, one of my favorite NBA podcasts over at ESPN. I did take about 2 minutes of conversation so we can kind of break down the context. So this is Tim McMahon talking about Jalen Duren and the restricted free agency contract negotiations with the Detroit Pistons and Jalen Duren. And it's pure speculation. I'll let you guys be the judge and you can listen to it. Here we go.
But the biggest question I've got about the Pistons is like, what's going to be the lingering cloud when this whole Jalen Duren situation gets finalized or at least temporarily settled? Like, is he going to sign an extension?
I just want to stop right there. He's literally asking a question. Is he going to sign an extension? He doesn't know. He's a national ESPN reporter, but he's literally asking the question to Vinny Goodwill, like, is he going to sign an extension? I'll let you listen to the rest of his discussion.
I don't know, but this has been a awfully nasty negotiation.
Again, before he said awfully nasty, he says, is he going to sign an extension? I don't know. Again, I'll let you guys listen to the rest of it.
And so I've got real concerns there because I understand they believe Ausar Thompson is their second best player, but like Jalen Duren was an all-NBA player for him last year. He was a massive factor in them winning 60 games. You can certainly criticize the playoff performance, but he was a massive factor in them winning 60 games. And, you know, I don't know him. I don't really have a great feel for kind of his temperament or anything like that. But sometimes these negotiations, when they're ugly like this, can have consequences that aren't
long.
Again, I think what Tim brings to the table in his questions to Vinny, we can break it down. Like, Jalen Duren was a very big piece of what the Pistons had last year of having a 60-win season. That is a fact. In the regular season, we're not talking about the playoffs. We're talking about the regular season. He was phenomenal, had a breakout season. I think we can all understand that. But when you see the tweet and now you actually hear the conversation, they're completely different because you added context to the situation. Now, Vinny kind of breaks down what he has heard without giving up too much because he probably doesn't want to get in trouble. But this is what Vinny had to say with the Jalen Duren restricted free agency situation.
Lasting, and I think, and I'm not trying to give away too much here, but I think when you have negotiations like this, there's certain things that a player should not have to hear. You know what I mean? There's certain things that a player does not have to hear when the messaging comes back about why you're not getting what you believe to be your value. And those are perhaps conversations that are going to have to be had to clear the air whenever he signs his deal. Like, I don't know if he's going to take the qualifying offer. It's very rarely someone passes up $180 million guaranteed to take 9.
So this is one part of the conversation that like my ears perked up because we have kind of tried to take an educated guess of like what the ballpark figure is. Vinny literally said, are you really going to walk away from $180 million just to take the qualifying offer, which is roughly 9, right? You guys can do the math. 180, 5-year period, that's $30 million a year. Like, are you going to walk away from $30 million a year because maybe a team like Sacramento or even Boston or the Lakers or, teams like that have possibly offered Jalen Duren? But I'll let Vinny, keep talking and you guys can watch the rest of this video. I'll quit interrupting.
On the thought that I'm going to go and get from insert team here, like sometimes what with a player like that, he hears, well, Boston was going to offer me this and Sacramento was going to offer me this and team X is going to offer me close to, over $200 million if we were to work out a sign and trade, and then they get that in their head and they can't get it out. And I'm very curious for a guy who's still very young, who felt like he'd done enough in the regular season to warrant getting, quote unquote, his money, how that's going to play moving forward. He's a professional. He shows up, he works hard, all of that stuff. Like, nobody takes any of that away from him. I just wonder where human nature comes in after a certain point where your feelings are hurt.
Again, there is so much context to the situation with Jalen Duren and that tweet from Full Court Press. I hope just kind of breaking it down shows you guys, if you see a tweet online, there's a pretty good chance, whether it's from NBA Central, Full Court Press, RTNBA, Legion Hoops, just naming a few accounts that I see on my timeline that aggregate, don't get the full story or the full quote, and they run away with it. And I think as, average basketball fans, casual basketball fans, we see this and sometimes we fall victim to it. Now, the tweet that they put out versus the conversation that Tim McMahon and Vinny Goodwill had about Jalen Duren and his pending restricted free agency are completely different. Tim was asking a question. He says, I don't know. I don't know the kid. And it's just pure speculation by him. He's not that tapped in with Detroit like Vinny is. Vinny is very tapped in with the Detroit Pistons. He's been a Detroit Pistons beat reporter before. He's got long-lasting relationships with people in the front office in the organization. He even kind of said a ballpark figure of $180 million. That could be what the Pistons offered Jalen Duren. So there's a lot to unpack with just that short 2 or 3 minute video. I know I did interrupt a little bit, but I just kind of get annoyed and frustrated with aggregation media companies that do this on social media. They take a quote, they run with it, and then you have people asking you or DMing you like, are we going to trade Duren? We should sign and trade Duren if this is the case. Like, I still believe that there is a good relationship between Trajan and JD. I think the Pistons want to get a deal done. they just have their mindset on a figure, and they're not going to break the bank, which would be, offering him that max deal that we've seen from reports of what his agent wants, and his representation wants. Because at the end of the day, agents get a cut of your deal. They get a cut of that max deal. You get anywhere from 2 to 5% if you're a good agent. So his agent's trying to get the most money possible. I get it. Like, that's his job. That's his job, to get the most money possible for JD. But I did want to talk about it for a couple of minutes with you guys, because aggregation, I think, at times can definitely fool us, because we don't have the full context of the conversation, or just like the article that was written. In this case, it was a podcast and a conversation of the Hoop Collective podcast. But in general, I think these aggregation accounts tend to do a better job of getting the full context and the full story, and not just, copy and pasting something that they've heard over like this was a 5-minute conversation. It's on ESPN's YouTube channel right now. They had posted it, so you guys can go listen to it as well. But I just kind of get annoyed with it. I know I rambled for a little bit. I do want to end the podcast with Ausar Thompson. So we're going to break down these highlights with Ausar Thompson in these pickup runs down in Miami. So let's go over the first one. Ausar does have the ball. Cade goes to give Ausar a little bit of a screen. He relocates at the top of the key. Davion Mitchell has to decide who he's going to pick up, and he decides to help a little bit, but he goes to guard Cade. Now it's just a man and Ausar one-on-one. Ausar decides, I'm just going to pull up, and he does, and it's a really nice-looking jump shot. Again, kind of just replay the highlight without me breaking it down, as you guys can see. Just really confident mid-range jump shot, no hesitation whatsoever. Love to see it. Second one, Cade's driving the ball right here. Let me kind of speed it up for you guys. So we got Cade driving the ball right here, and he's going to get doubled. And he finds Ausar Thompson in the corner for 3. And Ausar, again, no hesitation. He's just going to shoot this. And you love to see just the confidence right there. Swish goes in. And obviously, excellent read by Cade before they could trap him and double him. They just kind of kicks it out to Ausar for an easy corner 3. I'm just saying, man, if Ausar just starts hitting those corner 3s, starts hitting those mid-range jump shots, I could definitely see him having a breakout season. I could definitely see him being in most improved player of the year conversations. Not saying he's going to win it, but at least in conversations. Let's go to the next highlight. So this one was really fast. So Cade obviously has the ball, and he just kind of dumps it off because he does see a cutting Ausar Thompson. And this play was really athletic and really nice. Ausar, I think, was even like, I can't believe that went in. Because kind of just like threw it over his head and hit glass. Next one, he's going up against Trey Donaldson, who's a former college player, and nice mid-range jump shot as well. So let's kind of break this down. Dribble, and then just pull up, shoot, swish, goes in. Love to see it. Next play, he's going up against the 3rd overall pick, Cam Boozer. Ausar bullied Cam Boozer multiple times in his pickup run. But Ausar goes by him, gets fouled, falls down, gets the N1. Love to see it. Next play, again, against Trey Donaldson. And he decides, I'm just going to kind of back him down. Gets in the post, gets the lucky roll. Love to see it. Next play, again, against Trey Donaldson. He's going against him. Kind of just kisses it off glass. Just uses his body. Love to see it. Again, got Cam Boozer on him right here. Takes it to the basket, little mid-range, pulls up, love it. Trey Donaldson again, backing him down. Kisses it off glass, gets fouled. Cam Boozer again. Ausar's footwork was really great here against Cam. Again, pulls up against Cam, another nice mid-range jump shot. This is really aggressive. This is the play where I'm just like, man, like if you're using this type of aggression, it gets me really excited for this season. So Trey Donaldson passes it down to Ausar. Ausar drives to the basket and then dunks. Just kind of goes up strong. Like I'd love to see Ausar do that a little bit more often. This highlight itself has probably been circulated on my timeline at least 15 times over the last week. I started going up against Cam Boozer and just a couple of dribbles, gets into his mid-range, pops it, cash. Like, just these highlights in general. I know it's an open run. I know it's not probably NBA speed, but he is playing against NBA players in Cam Boozer, his brother Amen Thompson, Davion Mitchell, who's an absolute pit bull in those runs. He's playing with Cade Cunningham. Taurean Prince was also there, and some college players and Trey Donaldson. I don't know who the white guy was in those runs. I just don't know. I thought it was Federico Gallinari, who's a skill development coach, but someone told me it wasn't him. So I have no idea who that white guy was that they were playing with. Probably either a former college player or someone that is in college right now. But this kind of looking at those Ausar highlights, it should get you pretty hype, should get you pretty excited about this upcoming season and him possibly having a breakout year. Now, before we do say goodbye to you guys, we have to hear from our sponsors over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. And we have NBA futures going on right now in 2026, 2027. 45 win, regular season wins, I should say, odds. So they got the Pistons at a minus 260. Honestly, the Pistons won 60 games last year. I think 45 is an easy lock. A minus 260. I would take that all day. I've told you guys I still have the Pistons in the 50-plus win column. I think that's what a lot of sports books see as well, even though they're over-under is it set at 48.5 right now. I think the Pistons are easily a 50-win club this upcoming season. But let me know what you guys think of the Jalen Duren topic that we were kind of just discussing, the aggregation with these accounts and adding context to the situation, and also the Ausar Thompson pickup runs. I'll talk to you guys down below in the comment section. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe. Have a great weekend. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.